kind of learned to trust my kids a lot more over the last few years. You have to train them, you have to put them through it, test them, and then you have to go out and trust them.
In this conversation with Shawn Ekwall, we talked about when he was first asked to start Waverly's broadcast media class.
When they came and asked me to start this program, I was a little reluctant, but I knew it's something that this school needed, some of these kids needed, and frankly, this community needed.
How Shawn organizes all of the content needed for social media and broadcasts that they produce each week.
Yeah, this year we kind of, make sure we have a list of events each week on the board, and that we're creating a graphic and social media post for each just to get that out there.
Plus, how building relationships with your students empowers them to take ownership of your program.
One of the things too is, just like with any teacher, you got to build those relationships with those kids, and then you get them engaged in, hey, this is a cool program, I want to be part of this. Then they're going to want to work for you. You don't have to pull teeth and beg to get kids to sign up for events.
Let's dive in. Hey everyone, we're back with a new episode in our Educator Conversation series, and today I'm excited to be with Shawn Ekwall. He's in his 7th year at Waverly High School in Nebraska. He's a social studies teacher, now media broadcast educator, who's led their student broadcast program and sports media program to grow and empower over 40 students. And I've seen it firsthand in his classroom. Welcome to the show, Shawn.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, Taylor.
Yeah, you bet. We dive right in on these conversations and get down to the kind of nuts and bolts. But we like to ask this question: what are the 3 most important things for a broadcasting media teacher to know when starting a program?
Yeah, that's a good question, and something you really kind of need to think about as you're diving into this. But I put a few things down, like just start simple. A lot of people say that, but don't try to dive in and do too much. Start simple and build from there. And that's kind of what we've done. I think this is year 5 or 6 for us doing kind of digital media Striv. And, we've kind of built just a little bit each year. And I think that's kind of helped us, especially when you're trying to get new kids into your program and teach them the ropes and things of that nature. So it's good to have those older kids that can kind of show them the way. I also put encourage your kids to get involved. We've done that and we've grown, kind of what you mentioned. We're over 40 kids now, and getting those kids involved and finding something for each of them to do has been important. They kind of feel like have their own sense of belonging and importance in our program. And it's been really cool to see them take a lot of ownership in what we're doing, and get out there and create those graphics and sign up for games and, get on Canva and make graphics for social media and video edit and all those things. So it's been cool to see those kids take the bull by the horns and do that. And then I put down promote your school, community, and your program. That's one of the best ways to do that is through a program like this, what you guys have. A lot of people in the community, I tell our kids this on day one. I was like, our broadcasting, it's more broadcasting now than streaming, in my opinion. Our broadcasting is important to our patrons, not only in our community, but throughout the state. And we want to make sure that we do the best job we can each time we have an event. And because we get a lot of feedback from those things. And so taking a lot of pride in promoting our school, our program, our kids, those things are pretty important. So I think those 3, if you start there, you can only continue to build and go up.
Yeah, those are great. And yeah, it is starting simple. I like that's something new. I don't think we've heard. We've talked to now over 10 educators, encouraging them to get involved and finding a role. I know I saw you at work in your class, and finding something for over 40 students to do is not an easy task in this. So kudos to you for really growing that program and helping us guide you along and just being a resource for you. So that's really important.
Yeah.
How does broadcasting help students improve their communication skills that you've seen from your end?
Yeah, it teaches them a lot of life skills, every time we have an event or have a game that we're going to broadcast, they have to do a cheat sheet. Announcers have to have something in front of them that they've prepared in advance. And I think that really helps. Cool story here. Like, two of our kids called their first football game ever for me Friday night. And I was a little leery about it. I didn't know how it was going to go. I sat on the computer, played commercials, just gave them a little feedback, and pretty much stayed out of their way. And it turned out awesome. Those guys put a lot of time, effort, and passion into that broadcast. And it turned out really amazing. We it was a freshman and a senior, and those guys just worked together as the play by play and the color guy. And told them I was really proud of how they worked as a team, and even picked each other up during commercial breaks if they made a small mistake. They just kept encouraging each other, and they were really excited to get that opportunity Friday night. So it was cool to see those guys do their thing, and then look forward to when they signed up to do their next one. They can't wait to get back out there. So, and one of the things that has helped, and I know this is down further on the list, but the certification videos, that you guys have put out, we've put those to work and put our kids through them, and it gives them more confidence that they can get behind the mic. I've had more kids this year that want to do that than I've had in any year in the past. So that was really cool to see, just being able to communicate, understand the games a little bit, and go out there and then do it when we're going to have 6, 7, 800 people watching that streaming broadcast on Friday night. So yeah. And another thing that our kids have done a nice job is going out and selling advertising. We've had a lot of people want commercials, and it's a credit to our kids just going out there and promoting our program to these businesses. And selling it. And they did it this year about as good as anybody I could ask. Right now we've got 9 building on 10 commercials for advertisers. And the kids have taken ownership and went and filmed those commercials and talked to those business owners on their own. I've turned them loose and let them do it. And, they've done a great job, not only raising funds for our program, but also selling our program to the community and things like that. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of jumps in our kids and their communication skills, and it's fun to see.
That is amazing. There's nothing better than sending your kids out of your school building. I know that's always a risk. They've got to, you're sending out. I watched it happen that day. They were real eager to get out and go, but man, what an amazing opportunity! And that's exactly right. They're working on communication skills. They're going to have to look that business owner in the eye and say, "We're going to produce a great product for you, and your investment in us is going to be a great return." And that's you talk about community and your school and your program connecting all three of those. You're doing it. So kudos. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the certifications. Yeah. I was going to ask about that, but what a great story about those students and getting them that confidence. And that was homecoming game, correct? That they did that?
Well, the week before was homecoming, but it was Elkhorn. So, a lot of people are watching. It was a top 10 matchup, and those guys just jumped in and did a great job.
Fantastic. Well, you kind of already shared a little bit of kind of transformation through this, but what other ways have you observed students transform through the opportunity of broadcasting and creating media content? I know you do a lot of social media content in your class as well to promote your broadcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, this year we kind of, make sure we have a list of events each week on the board, and that we're creating a graphic and social media post for each, just to get that out there. But our kids have really done a nice job stepping up on video editing too. I told them it's not something I personally know much about. And so I can give you guys the resources, and we've brought a few people in to help, but some of it is you guys just got to dig in and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my cup of tea. That's not my strength. So we've had some kids really do a nice job with that, not only editing our commercials, but we do these, I call them funny videos. They're about 45, 50 seconds. And then they put them together. They'll interview 3 kids on the volleyball team or 3 kids on the softball team, and just ask them some, do you have a guilty pleasure song, or do you have hidden talents? And then they'll get some good responses, and they'll put that video together. And then we put it on Score Vision Friday night for everybody to see. So we had 3 of those go Friday night, which was kind of fun. And I think the parents and the adults that come to the games on Friday get a good kick out of that as well. and it gives, like you said, when you have 40 kids, you got to find a lot for them to do,
Mhm.
and so it kind of gives each of them something that they can kind of hang their hat on. Hey, this is my thing right here. We're going to do these videos. We're going to edit them. Or, hey, I'm in charge of girls golf graphics on Canva, and we have 3 meets this week. I'm going to knock out 3 good graphics. So everybody takes a little bit of ownership in that. And, I can see everybody's skill set just getting a little bit better, and a little bit more kids getting a little bit more confident with what they're doing each week.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is, and having that schedule helps give them a
Mhm.
visual of what needs to get done, just like
Yeah.
any other class, except for you're creating graphics and videos. You're not taking
Mhm.
tests,
Yeah.
which is the difference there.
Sure.
How have you seen these skills that you're talking about help them become better prepared for a digital future?
Well, I tell them this all the time. It's like this is the future, guys. There's jobs out there in this field. And if you take the bull by the horns and you take some ownership and you want to learn how to video edit and how to create, killer graphics and use Canva and Photoshop and Premiere Pro and After Effects, I say you're going to be very marketable. And there's people just wanting those types of people in their workforce. You see it all the time on social media. Hey, we need video editors for this. Hey, we need content creators for this. And it's a different world, obviously, when I was growing up, for sure, and even a little bit when you are. You're younger, but still, it's the same way. It's different than what it was when we were going through. It's you have to learn the new tricks of the trade and adapt. And our kids are starting to do that, even forcing me to do that a little bit, right? Like I'm old school print journalism. That's what I know, and that's what I like. But I also understand that people want content here and now, and they don't want to wait. And if you can get stuff out quicker and more efficiently, that's going to get views. Our kids started a TikTok,
Mm,
and they do a really nice job with the stuff they put out. They don't put out a ton of stuff, but they'll pick one or so a week and really plan it and think about it, and it gets a ton of engagement. I'm just like, you go, guys, you knock this out. And they did a really good job with the last TikTok. I think one last year, it was over football or homecoming week. By the time it was all said and done, had millions of engagements by the time it was
wow.
done, which was really impressive. But our kids that take the lead on that stuff, they know that they want to produce good quality stuff that's interesting and engaging. And I just tip my cap to them for wanting to do that.
Yeah, you mentioned this. This is a little off script, but I think it's important since our audience is teachers, educators
Mhm.
that are in this, and a lot of them, just like you came into this as a social studies.
Yeah.
I think you teach psychology. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
A
Government
psychology class.
psychology. Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
and you mentioned print journalism.
Yep.
Is how have you adapted with that knowledge and then not really teaching broadcasting and media? What have you learned through this process?
A ton. Yeah, it's been a big adjustment. When they came and asked me to start this program, I was a little reluctant. Um, but I knew it's something that this school needed, some of these kids needed, and frankly, this community needed. And they asked me based on kind of my print journalism background, my sports knowledge, whatever you will, background. So I was the fit for it, I guess. But I enjoy doing it because I have a lot of kids who are passionate about it, and that's why we're in education, right? Like we want to see kids get after their passions and pursue that. And I've seen a lot of kids do that. Like we've had several kids that have graduated. I have 2 kids that graduated 2 years ago that are now sophomores at KU, and they are neck deep in the journalism program down there, doing great things. And they would have never done that had they not been through our program here at Waverly and got the opportunities they had here at Waverly. And that's just 2 of several kids that have gone on and done that type of thing. Kid last year is at the College of Journalism at UNL, and so, but yeah, I've had to adapt a lot too. You think about all the tech stuff. Sometimes that can be on the frustrating end a little bit. Like, is it going to work? How do we troubleshoot this? But I've got a good group of kids who have learned that. Just simple things like we spend the first week setting up 3 or 4 times just so kids can get that hands-on experience of how to set up our equipment, where it goes, how to test it, how to troubleshoot it, how to hook up all that stuff. So it doesn't always have to be me do it or whoever the teacher is at every school. Um, and that's one of the things I put down. I've kind of learned to trust my kids a lot more over the last few years. You have to train them, you have to put them through it, test them, and then you have to go out and trust them. Like I'm at a lot of events. Trust me, I'm at most events, but there might be a couple that I can't go to because I'm coaching my son's junior Vikes tackle football team, or I got to go to baseball practice, and so I've got a good group of kids that I can trust to be there to make sure it gets done well and that they're not screwing around and that they're acting in a professional manner.
Yeah. And I got to see that, we have I had the opportunity to visit you in your class, and just the way you kind of run, you ran a meeting and everyone was on the same page. And we talked, that day that the game time had changed because of
Yeah,
storms
yeah,
coming in.
right.
You've got to be flexible. And yeah, you're like, hey, I've got to be at junior high football. So can I
Mhm,
trust you to
mhm.
be at the
Yeah,
stadium to set
yeah,
up? And
yeah,
it's hard.
mhm,
I'm not an educator. I'm a business owner, but I've got a
mhm.
team, and it's hard to let go of that sometimes.
Yeah,
But uh,
yeah,
you're seeing the fruits of that labor of doing those
mhm,
reps in class,
yeah.
so that you build that trust. That's
Well,
incredible.
yeah, and you're right. Like one of the things too is just like with any teacher, any whatever, you got to build those relationships with those kids, and then you get them engaged in, hey, this is a cool program. I want to be part of this. Then they're going to want to work for you. You don't have to
Mm.
pull teeth and beg to get kids to sign up for events. Like almost all our events are filled. We have a spreadsheet, everything through fall that we're going to the broadcast. And we went through it this morning. We have three broadcasts this week and 4 next week, and they're pretty much all filled. Like I don't have to hunt kids down. I don't have to beg kids to be there. I'll buy them breakfast pizza at the end of a week when we've had a busy week. I'll do what I can to throw them a bone because I know they do a lot. But these kids here, they want to be involved and they want to do it, and they jump right in. And I very rarely do I have to say, "Hey, I need 2 people tonight. Who's it going to be?" And if I do, usually somebody jumps right in and says, "Hey, I'll take care of it."
Yeah, and I always attest that to the coach, which is you, that they know how important it is to show up and to be professional. That says a lot about you and the program you're doing. So really great job. It's been fun to see it grow from when I was, in the gym trying to get your laptop working. We had some
Yeah,
frustrations a couple years ago
yeah,
to now, you
yeah,
know, knock on wood,
yeah.
you eliminate the technical issues, and now
Hmm.
you can really grow the
Hmm.
program, and you've got over 40 students that want to be a part of
Yeah,
it. That's
yep,
pretty incredible. So
yep.
this is the end of the show. We always we call it a shameless humble brag. But how has the training and the resources support from Striv Education helped you improve as a media educator?
Yeah, it's been great. The curriculum's such a huge help. When that got put together, starting with Rob and Shanda back in the day, and it's been added and added. That's stuff that people like me need, right? Like I can teach social studies, I understand that, but having a plan day to day, how to teach broadcasting, digital media, all that, didn't have a real great plan for that. So using that as what I use it for is supplemental resources, but if using it as your day to day, either way, it's been huge. It's been a huge help and it's been a big benefit to me, our new digital media program, our kids, and the certification too. Like I said, those videos have been on point. I walk around, watch the kids, listening to them. They're taking notes. They're like, "Oh yeah," when Eric's telling them how to handle an injury situation. They're like making a mental note. Okay, yeah, let's do this, or don't talk about this. Um, so I see them engaging with one another and how they should and should not handle certain situations. And even our camera work's gotten better. I've had to, harp on our camera operators sometimes, still do. I mean, you
Yeah.
know how that is.
Oh yeah.
We were running the switcher the other night, It's been a couple weeks ago, and we were switching way too much. And of course, I'm up there trying to announce, and then I've got people texting me, "Your camera's all over." So you're trying to
You
put out
try
a
to
lot
go
of fires. But then
educational
we adjusted.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Then we adjusted and fine, got where we were fine in the second half. So, but again, that's just putting some trust on your kids and knowing that they can handle those situations better. So, I credit the curriculum. I credit you guys. Easy to work with, just tremendous. Tech support, curriculum support. If we need equipment, easy to get, discounted rate. I mean, there's just so many benefits of being in the Striv Education program.
Yeah, I love that. I had a thought. I've never said this on any video, but I know you coach. You coach
Mhm.
some. You coach junior high sports.
Yeah, junior
Yeah.
high, youth, about everything. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I've been in the same spot. Isn't it fascinating? Can you imagine if fans were able to text the coach during the game and say, "Hey, that play stunk." That's essentially what they're doing to you, is saying, "Hey, fix the camera because I
Yeah.
can't watch this right now," or tell this. But I just put myself in as a coach, which you can
Yeah.
appreciate, and a lot of our audience can appreciate. Is
Well, my
I
wife
can
does that to
imagine.
me doing junior Vikes football games sometimes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Youth sports.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Game
different, right?
on.
Right.
Oh man, yeah. So, but hey, you made halftime adjustments.
We did,
The
we did.
product
Yeah, we
was
were better the
better.
second half.
Yeah,
Yep,
you're better in the second half. So
yep.
that's
So,
really cool.
yeah,
Well, Shawn, thank you so much. You got a great program and a great example for all of the educators watching. And I think the takeaway is learning to trust your broadcast students is a process. It takes time, but starting simple, encouraging them.
yep,
In the end, you're trying to promote your school, your
yep,
community, your program. All
yep,
those things come together to create success. So thank
yep.
you.
Thanks for having me on, Taylor. Appreciate it.
You bet.